Good evening to all of you. Today, our topic is youth and aggressiveness. The reasons we see the today's youth are so angry, rude, arrogant at times. There can be many reasons behind that, and how we can cover it up. How we can, use some policies or some ways and methods to cover that. To cope up with this youth, and that deals with our topic today. So I request, as usual, I request Professor Narayan to start with our topic and express his views about what he thinks about youth and aggressiveness.
Okay,
Professor
first of
Narayan.
all, I would like to thank Sharmista, our coordinator, and also I am thankful to Shri D.P. Sinha who very kindly agreed to come to our webinar, and Dr. A.K. Pandey ji, who also very kindly agreed to come. And we are always getting support from both of you whenever we seek your support. So today's topic you see is aggressiveness among youth and policing. So fortunately we have one IPS officer, former IPS officer, Sri D.P. Sinha, and he has dealt with many such problem issues of aggressiveness and policing. So he is the right person to say about that. Now, so happened that last month, in sometime in February, I had some meeting with the DG Police of Bihar. So he said that since you are doing webinar, please do some webinar on the problem of police and also on the youth. So this will be a series. This is not one webinar, but it will go in series. And finally, we may come out with a book form or a research report if it so happens. And I am also welcoming Aloke Michyari. He is the director of the Youth Association in YMCA in Delhi. So, Dr. Aloke Michyari ji, uh, we welcome you in our program. And Aloke
Good
Michyari
evening.
ji is also, can you hear me? Hello, Alok Michyari ji, can you hear me? You can't hear me? Anyway,
Mr. Alok, sir,
so
can you hear, sir?
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're
yes, you
audible.
are
You are
audible.
audible.
Are we audible to you? So I had a meeting with the DG police here in Bihar, and then he suggested that you can have some webinar like on policing and the youth, and then we will think how much we can help in policing. So that is the one point which made us to organize a program like this, a webinar like this. And aggressiveness is a mental state in which youth reacts to the situation, and if it is handled properly, then then there is no problem. But when it is not handled properly, then it leads to some sort of physical problem, and then it leads to youths and police problem, confrontation, and all that happens. So fortunately, we have Shri G.P. Sinha ji, who is a uh, who remained practicing police officer for a long time, and Mr. Alok Michyari ji, he is also from Ranchi, St. Xavier's
Good
College
evening.
University. You want to say something? And he has some experience during his young days he was doing. Uh, the first confrontation with the student unrest or youth unrest which I had was in the year 1968. and that was the year when there was a lot of student movement in universities of Bihar and other states. And so we had a we had done a study on BIT Misra, that how the youths, students of BIT Misra are responding to this youth unrest question. So, and that was also published later on. That was published a book which was in the year 1968. That was the first research which I took up. And after that, I have some other experiences. One of my book, Police, Judiciary and Development, which was published sometime in 1979. And then in this book, I have talked about that how much the policing affects in development of the country, the role of the police in the development of the country, and how policing can make a development a positive development, and how he can make a development issues a negative development. So that all that has developed, and what is the role or interaction between police and judiciary, and how both the judiciary and police can contribute to a great extent in the development of the country. So that was the subject of that book. The other book is on dynamics of human rights in India, which was published in 2018. In that book also I have mentioned about how the police, by some misunderstanding or that creates the problem of violation of human rights, and then they become very helpless in doing anything positive. So, and the third book is the internal security, which was published in 2 years back. That there also the role of police, I have highlighted the role of police in maintaining the internal security, and what could be the balance and positive response for internal security. So these are some of the works that has helped me to do some work for police and youth. But the police always does uh, to maintain work for to maintain law and order in the society, and in that interaction they have to interact with the youth also. Then the sometime the social phenomena or the cultural phenomena makes them very angry with the police, or that is all because of the socialization process of the individual. How in a given situation a person will respond, it depends on that. And if they have a proper social socialization and proper understanding of the human being and humanity, then it may go in right perspective. Or if it is not there, then it will go in wrong perspective. See, for long time, for 2 years, I was president of the students' union, also of one of the leading university, and there we, we learned how to manage such situation, and the to avoid the confrontation with the student, or to avoid the confrontation with the police, we have to learn how to manage it, because the surgeons, what they do, they learn how to operate so that so that the problem of the body can be removed. So as a social scientist, we have to learn how to suggest the policing and the police as well as the youth to interact with each other and to maintain peace in the society, so that development can take place. If the development is, if the role of the police become negative, and then there and the youth also, then there is a confrontation. The university will remain closed for Sindai, and so many problem comes up which affects the development of the country, development of the society. So considering all these points and the background of the police, we thought that this kind of a series of webinar on this thought, this background may help in policy framers and the activists what and how to mobilize uh, youth and the police for betterment of the society, for peace in the society, and for the development in the society. Uh, so, with these words, I would like to. There are some studies of Korean youth and youth from USA and some other states. There they have suggested how to tackle such situation and how to minimize such situation. Someone has suggested that the physical exercise may help in minimizing and ventilating the aggressiveness of the youth. Some have suggested that no, it is the family orientation of of an individual, of a youth in the family is responsible for that. Then there are some other factors these days which we call as ecological factor or environmental factors. The ecological and environmental factors are equally responsible for making a youth aggressive. It may be that they are not getting admission even if they have marks, maybe because of certain other reasons or the certain other situations which are beyond the control of the youth and also of the police. So that is that we have to think about and we have to give the suggestions. As a, as in the beginning, I have discussed that our program are watched by the PMO also. So this program we have given sent our uh, papers to PMO, and I think that after this is over, we will share the program with them also because they are more responsible for if they want to make any change or in the policy or any draft they want to make. So that this may be useful for them in the for the betterment of the country. That is the purpose of organizing today's webinar, and we have
क्या बोला
experts
चला गया
like Shri D.P. Sinha ji, who is an IPS officer, and he was after IPS he was a member of the Information Commission, and then we have Dr. A.K. Pandey, who was IPS for 1 year or 2 years. Then he will become IS, and then we have one activist, youth activist, the director of the YMCA, Shri Michyari ji. So these people they have experience of handling the situation in real life. So whatsoever they will share will be an asset and that may help in formulating our programs and policy for the development of the society and thereby for the country. So, with this background, I also welcome our viewers from of YouTube and Facebook. They are important people for us because they always encourage us, they raise questions to our speakers, our participants, and they give us some positive thought also. So we are very much thankful to our YouTube viewers and Facebook viewers uh, because they are a vitamin for our this such programs. Because if they are not there, then we will not be able to know that how our programs are received. So with all these words, I would like to go back to Sharmista, Dr. Sharmista, uh, to conduct the rest of the program. So
Thank you.
thank you
Thank
very
you so
much to
much,
all
sir.
of you.
Yeah, it was well said, sir. You had narrated your experiences about the aggressiveness of the youth and various ways and means how we can deal with it. Can I request Mr. TP Sinha, sir? Can you just enlighten us with the topic, sir?
yeah thank you Sharmista.
Welcome, sir.
Today the topic of discussion is aggressiveness among youth and police. But if you ask me, this is not only among youth, our whole social system, the whole of the Indian society has become aggressive. And why it has become aggressive? That also comprises youth also. It is lack of patience and tolerance. These two things are the biggest challenge of modern times. People have lost faith in waiting for some time. They want immediate results. They want to get maximum in minimum time. And there are so many attendant things which have contributed to this behavior of the Indian society. We are aware that the social media plays a very important role. Then global advent of travel and technology has contributed in a big way. We can imagine a youth or a person staying in a rural area or in a tier 2, 3, tier 4 city in the country. He knows everything what his counterpart is getting in Delhi or Mumbai or for that matter in any foreign country. So he is aware and he thinks that if my counterpart can get something, why can't I? He is an educated person. The level of education has gone high and his ambition is also high. So this results in violent behavior and to get everything what his peers or what his counterparts are getting in other parts of the country or the world. I will relate a small example which I think I have read many years back. During the heydays of Soviet Russia, their scientists were working on nuclear plants and other scientific projects. One Western journalist asked a Soviet scientist, "Sir, you have done stellar work in your field. What have you gained? Your counterpart in the US has now swanky cars. He lives in a big bungalow, and all those things he has gained in for his daily needs." You know what was the answer of the Soviet scientist? He says that I used to have one bicycle, now I have two. So this was the level of contentment. And why was this answer given by him? Because he had not seen what the world looks like. If he had seen what is the world in USA or in the Western countries, he would also have aspired that he can also have this, he also has the same talent. He is also doing similar service to to his country. Why can't he also get those things? But those days, I think 40, 50 years back, the communication was very poor. The news used to reach after considerable time and you did not have access to what is happening in other places. Now, see the situation today. We have 24 into 7 news channels who blurt out news from across the world, and people are aware what is happening in the world. So they get to know everything, and their ambition has increased. Their uh, mm, their ambition has increased, and their quest for getting more has increased. These are some of the sociological reasons which has resulted in aggressiveness among the youth in particular and the society in general. You must have heard that now everybody has a Instagram or a Facebook account. Their effort is to get maximum number of likes and maximum number of followers. If they don't get that, they feel that they are not being treated well in the society, and they want much more to come to them. Violent behavior, peer rivalry has has helped in increasing the aggressiveness among the youth in general. We see number of road rage cases are on increase, and on slight provocation we feel that the youth becomes violent and they indulge in violent acts which is not as per social norms. If you ask me, as a policeman can come to the scene after something has happened, but this is a social phenomena which has to be nipped in the bud. I will give you a small example. When today a small child takes admission in a school, his parents goad him every day that you have to do best in your class. You should excel among your peers. So there is a sense of competitiveness among peers. And these are all factors that contribute to his violent behavior. If he is not able to achieve something by lawful means, by legal means, he indulges in some action which is not as per social norms. So I will blame the advent of technology for increasing increasing this violent behavior and aggressiveness among youth in particular and society in general. Today, our media houses are equally to blame because the social media and the electronic media, they germinate a seed which immediately flourishes, and it goes, it knows no boundary. It goes across the boundaries of nation, and it goes, it geography, it transcends the geographical boundary. So if you ask me to give me a solution for all these, it is the family training, it is the family which has to guide people that what they have to, how they have to behave in the society, and what is good for the society so that they can become a good person. One thing which comes to my mind is the community policing aspect of the police force. Community policing aspect means that the policemen interact with the community in general. They have regular meetings with family members, and they guide the family how to bring up their family members, especially youth. This thing has proved very useful when we talk of Islamic radicalization. De-radicalization, for de-radicalization, this community policing has helped in a long way. So like we try to de-radicalize a person, we use community policing, we interact with family, we interact with community leaders and tell them that these are the behavioral patterns of people who are likely to become radicals. So in a similar manner, if we can give guidance, if we can give training to family members, to the elders of society, and to the community leaders, that how they can rear their children so that they become a good citizen of their country. These are all in theory. With the advent of social media and other scientific methods, it is very difficult to keep a youth in a hollow, in a small shell. They know what is happening and they want to compete with their counterparts. And this is the biggest problem which our society is facing. And this leads to aggressiveness and it reflects in their social behavior. So let us hear other participants also what they have to say and then something I can interject in between. Thank you, Sharmishta.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's the lovely way you have, explained us how the socio-cultural factors, the community, the house, as well as the technology that we are living in, all are responsible to, to raise up the aggressiveness among the youth. So I would now request, sir, Dr. A.K. Pandey, sir, can you just explain us a little bit on this?
Thank you. Thank you,
Welcome.
Professor Narayan and colleagues. I was listening my senior IPS colleague, and somehow whatever he said, every point is out of his long experience of working, and there is little to add so far as the concepts are concerned. But nothing. But however, I try to convince myself by talking to all of you that I have understood it carefully, understood in the right spirit also. Let me start by a very general example that is called game of chicken in psychology. That is in human mind actually. It is explanation of human mind in that game. Years ago or even today, you all must have faced one lane roads. One lane roads with kacha pavements on both sides. So in rainy days, two trucks normally come face to face on that road, and from long distance itself, they have to decide how much to leave the road. Now, everyone tries not to leave the road because in the soil there is chance in rainy days that the it will slip or it can stop. It can be stuck in mud. So both start with high speed, showing that they will not leave the road. But someone has to leave the road, and he leaves the road. The other one passes clearly. Uh, the one who has left the road, there is some chance that he is stuck in the mud. So he is in a loss. And the one who has not left the road, he had clear passage, so he is happy. This is called chicken game because somebody chicken who chickens out is considered less brave by heart. So he has left the conflict situation and gave the way. So in society also it happens that when there is conflict situation, you have to understand your nerves, and your aggressiveness depends on the confidence you have got. Uh, there is one positive example, there is one negative example also, which I know mostly hearsay, but must be true of my acquaintances. That one student underage was found driving car, and nearby a police thana he was intercepted. So police officer asked him, "What is your age? What is license?" Instead, he expressed aggressiveness. He said, my father is senior officer and leave me. I am always driving this road. So tried to bully out. But police officers are really experienced. They said, no, come to Thana. It is strictly not conflict situation. But the boy tried very hard to bully the police officer and was beaten up badly before his father could come to his rescue in the same city. Now, that is conflict situation because police has absolute right to decide the conflicts or take time to decide the conflict. When conflicts arises, police has right to intercept, stop those things, either take decision on the site itself or take it to the court where serious thought is given. And so that is the same thing. Police officer also need same confidence, same aggressiveness to act into that. The only thing is that one is on the side of the state and other is on the side of general public. These days in democracy, the thing has still changed. It has changed because people have got political affiliations. Found youth have found that they can change sides. If today they are criminal, they have alliances with political alliances. Maybe tomorrow they are in power with right affiliation. I call it Robin Hood effect. You start by crime, but prove to be well-wisher of common people and poor people. There are many examples. Perhaps it will be not be good to take names, but even very senior political leaders have started by something which has been a crime, really a crime in those days, and have got punishment also, but still they are there. So these examples I am telling because basic human aggressiveness has to be channelized, just like physical power, intellectual power, and nature are channelized by the society for constructive purposes, but when they fail in their selection process, it goes to destructive purposes. And that is the problem of youth who has not put right into the place where he can contribute positively. Uh, one of my friend's relative was traveling in a taxi with wife from Allahabad to Gorakhpur. Now, normally taxi drivers in long route keep friendly. They also ate lunch and passed. But he said that my relative in mobile he wants lift. Can I give him lift? He allowed. Now the driver and this friend, they stopped on the bridge midway in the river and started some hobnobbing with the wife of that person. And this person was somehow kung fu and other expert. He could overcome both of them and escape. Later on, uh, later on, he was charged with murder of those two people, and all life he spent in the court or jail. Now that was the aggressiveness which was thrust upon him due to circumstances. Both were aggressive. It was the example when both trucks collide and both are destroyed. So both are in loss. Unless somebody chickens out, nothing is safe. So the strange thing is that his son, that my friend's relative, his son got selected into NDA in the first attempt and now major in police. So I see a transformation in the present youth. Because of increased number of information, finding out right channel for you has not become difficult. And people are getting education and understanding the society and government and finding out right place. Our Jharkhand, Jharkhand has so many examples by police initiatives in this direction. I have been witness to that. Uh, Mr. Sinha just quoted community policing. I have seen real example of community policing. You must be hearing in the newspapers also that special police officers are also getting killed in certain actions by by criminals or by Naxals and all those things. I, as a senior officer, once I was traveling through Palamu, and as a routine procedure, escort was provided by the government. Uh, the procedure is that in each thana, in each police station region, escort changes, and in one particular police thana, normal procedure escort changed. We normally don't care what is happening because it is routine procedure. But suddenly he went into the Kacha road out of the highway. Then we got alert what is happening. Then we carefully saw the people in the jeep escorting us. They didn't look like regular policemen. And though very enthusiastic and carrying rifle, everything, then my son said, why they are going to the Kacha road? They are not. They don't look like police officer. Whether we are being kidnapped or something like that. Then mobile phones were there. I asked the SP immediately. So they said, yes, we have community police officers there, and there is one regular police officer in the group, and others are those who are local people. We have used them as community. Now, that was very positive change. That was initiated by the administration itself, and I praise that that is successful in certain regions. These two examples, one of in a generation, somebody had become lieutenant in the army, and the second in the short run, somebody who was normal citizen in the villager, he was taken as police officer. So these are the examples we and government are taking for those people who who has been victim of not getting right place in the society as per their talent and ability. But it takes time, and our technology is very fast now. Those days, in you can say around 30 years ago, 40 years ago, remember, we found it very difficult to inter-district telephone calls. And international calls, forget it. Now, today, even internationally, you can talk face to face, see the things, understand the things. So, our knowledge, internet has increased the knowledge, and this knowledge is also percolating to the youth. Those youth who are ambitious, those youth who have not been rightly placed, keep on going in this direction and find out, exchange notes, and learn new ways for criminal activity and their benefits. One of the changes that crimes on internet, that cyber crime. So police has taken another direction, that is cyber crime. If you, it is well known, cyber crime is well known, looting bank accounts, taking passwords, other things, troubling your account, knowing this. You can have a very good thing, good knowledge of these crimes, that one of the English films, which is James Bond. Now, today's James Bond doesn't work on telephone calls and other things. They don't work on they work on internet and drones, drone internet, and this conferencing, long range information exchange had put the aggressiveness on a different plane. And that different plane is slowly being taken, slowly being understood by the government authorities. Counter to counter these criminal activities, which are normally going on in the back, one of the methods is that Aadhaar card. Uh, Making Aadhaar card necessary has given identity to every person. Similarly, surveillance and cyber policing, these things have been used to stop, to prevent such type of activities. But still, the criminal mentality which youth have got, they are exchanging, making groups in the long route range. Good planning in long range is very difficult to understand as such, unless continuous surveillance on the internet is done. Now, human rights activists say that no, we don't like surveillance on the internet in this way or that way or the other way. The basic condition is whether police has to be smarter or the average person, which includes criminal mind, is to be smarter. We must accept that principle that police has to be smarter. They have to be better equipped technically and intellectually to prevent those activities at mass scale. We we think that the message today is to equip these frontiers of technology to police so that whatever level of crimes is going, which to prevent which is the responsibility today, is to be can be handled. So normally we think aggressiveness is road rage. It is road rage. Just I told, two trucks, they collide or somebody gives way. If they collide, both destroyed. If they don't collide, somebody who gives way, who is good person, he is put to loss as a chance. So we, on the education level, we have to take steps to prevent that kind of aggressiveness, on the spot aggressiveness, that you can prevent, you can handle by punishment other things, but you can't prevent just the other. It is education and mental attitude has to be changed, and I think that part is to be taken by the education system to educate, make constructive and those things. So what we come to conclusion, the conclusion is that aggressiveness of youth had been always. Even in the past, there were Robin Hoods. But our objective is to use their talent into constructive channel by proper selection and motivation. And second thing is that as technology is getting increasing by leaps and bounds, our policing system must adapt and understand those challenges which will come tomorrow by interaction of high technology, aggressive mind of the youth, and limitations of policing. So, so I always advocate that some training course in this advanced policing, using drones, using cameras, hacking, even hacking. After all, spies are doing all types of illegal things. For good purpose, you can hack certain cameras, mobiles, and other things. These things has to be in the basic training of police now to go ahead, and maybe some control on the internet to expand to filter out messages which can are leading to crime, which are helpful for gangs to operate, must be researched at this stage by our system. I think I have already taken more than my
No, no,
allotted
sir, it's
time.
fine. It's absolutely fine, sir. It was well said, sir. Like we came to know the major various reasons, the type of aggressiveness we see in the society, and definitely, sir, it was there before also. But now we need to channelize them in a proper direction because the youth today are capable of handling this in a more negative manner because they have the technology with them.
With
So
them.
that's absolutely the right, sir. And the police has to equip themselves, as you people are quite experienced with that. I know, I did not have to see on this part. So now I just request Mr. Michyari, sir. Can you just explain your views regarding this topic, Mr. Aloke
Thank you.
Michyari?
Very good evening to Professor Narayan. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir. You're
yes.
audible, sir.
Am I audible? Yes. Thank you very much, Professor Narayan and Dr. Sarmista and all my co-participants in this webinar and this invitation. I'm really honored. Whenever I attend such meetings, seminars, workshops, or webinars, I always wish to be the first speaker. The reason being that the speakers who speak before me are likely to be are always more eminent, and they cover the points so meticulously that I get nervous because most of the points which I perhaps would like to mention have already been covered, and I'm hardly left with anything additional or new to add to. However, having listened to Professor Narayan and Mr. Sinha and Mr. Pandey, with their vast experience and exposure, especially in administration and management and policing, etc., I am really humbled. Have whatever points I have to mention, would like to say in a very small and humble manner. I'm Aloke Michyari. I am the director in the New Delhi YMCA here in Delhi. Aggressiveness of any nature or on anybody's part, I feel, could be destructive, disruptive, and devastating as well. Aggressiveness amongst youth, in particular, similarly, could lead to very adverse situations and tremendous negative impact on the society. As such, this is a matter of great concern, and I must thank Professor Narayan and Dr. Sharmista to have chosen this very relevant topic today to discuss in order to dissect the problems and come up with situations and solutions to address the problem, that is the aggressiveness, largely and mainly with the youth in our country as well as in the world. I feel this aggressiveness increases the stress level, not only amongst the youth, but even with their friends, with their families, with their society, with the surrounding. And it needs to be checked timely and tactfully, I personally feel. In my opinion, this aggressiveness could be broadly divided into three levels. Could be physical, could be verbal, and could be emotional. Physical, as we all know, could be hitting and kicking and pushing and punching and even stabbing, which causes physical injuries. Verbal is a negative communication to push somebody down, which causes mental and psychological injuries. And emotional is to ridicule or showing down others, challenging their self worth, thereby causing guilt and upsetting the mind of the other people and insulting and hurting. The causes, in general, in my opinion, are the fear, anxiety, and stress. And the problems could be personal, causing stress because of certain unfulfilled needs in the family, in the society, in the workplace, in general. It could be also among the youth, particularly unemployment, which increases their aggressiveness and the stress level. And the low esteem, because of all these things, youth feels neglected, not cared for, and then becomes aggressive. These are the personal problems. It could be social situations and political scenario also, which is caused because of the disharmony and injustice and conflicts in the society. At domestic level also, there could be family dispute, strained relationships, and discriminatory behavior even within the family, which will make somebody aggressive. Emotional exploitation could be because of the uh, impaired communication skills, or maybe failing marriages or failed love affairs. This could be four kinds of causes which will be increasing the stress level of individuals, especially youth. The consequences could be physical injury, mental stress, psychological depression, and strained interpersonal relationships. Policing is to be done, of course, by the police when we say policing. But I feel policing here should be checking and controlling and correcting, not only with the police, but even with the parents, with the teachers, with the elders, with colleagues, with bosses, with friends, and well wishers. To reduce the aggressiveness level, my suggestion will be number one, to stay calm, maintain silence, and control our own body language, control the tone of our voice, and condense our verbal communication. Also, we should be, somebody had mentioned about meditation, yoga, that reduces the stress level of the mind and keeps one very composed and happy. And then we should find an alternative. If we are aggressive because some particular thing not being given to us, what could be a possible alternative? We can try to find that thing out, and we should try to provide a positive engagement to people who are aggressive, and we should be more responsive and not repulsive, and be less aggressive and negative, and we should encourage assertiveness instead of aggressiveness. Aggressiveness is always negative. Assertiveness is always positive. And the positive impacts of whatever means we acquire to reduce the aggressiveness could be improvement in socialization of youth, improvement in self-esteem, reduction in youth or juvenile crime rates, and increase in positive participation of the youth in constructive socio-economic activities and nation building. So let us look for hope and induce rather hope instead of despair in the youth. Let's look for happiness instead of sorrow. Let's look for harmony instead of conflict. And let us spread a smile and touch hearts and be compassionate instead of being condemning, especially to the youth. These all things put together perhaps will decrease the aggressiveness of the youth in particular and the society in general. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. It was well said. You were basically highlighting the socio-cultural factors and the conditions in the house and the society, which can definitely give rise to aggressiveness in the year. Definitely, sir. We had different views today. Some, I think we can start with Professor Narayan, who gave his examples and views about his time, the aggressiveness in youth and how it can be dealt with. Mr. DP Sinha gave his examples of technology, and definitely he also spoke about the society. The society has a greater role in eradicating the aggressiveness, whether it's a boy or a girl, because they start having this at the tender stage when there are, I see as a biological, hormonal, trigger in their body, and definitely the technology which comes, couples with it, and they want everything out of the world, which and this gives rise to some sort of competition, and definitely the aggressive in youth is today's world. It's in a much greater amount, as Dr. AK Pandey sir said. It was there before also, but now we need to channelize them in the proper manner, and definitely how the police can cope up with it. And as Mr. Nichari said, it is totally a socio-cultural, is the way a child has been brought up in the society factors, the parental views, and definitely that affects the aggressiveness in a child. So we have different views from our YouTube channel. There are some comments which has come up, sir. Anyone can answer this. It is written, sir, in Bihar, the police personnel are at the receiving end in recent months. They've been chased, beaten, hacked, and even murdered by aggressive mob, which largely includes youth. What should be done to get this harassment of policemen? So, any one of you can answer this question.
Mhm.
No, no,
I
police.
think
I will try to answer this question.
Definitely, sir.
Police is entrusted with the duty to control law and order, and it is fraught with the danger because when you are going to control people who are angry, who are agitated, it is part of your professional hazard which you have to face. So, uh, ideally, the society, if the society is ideal, that there will be no need for policemen. Policemen are there to firefight. So one should not be afraid that they are chased, beaten, heckled, and murdered by aggressive mob. They have to be prepared for all those things. And one the policeman cannot tell that we know we can't go and face the crowd because we have the we are we can be killed or we can be injured. Well, that is not an excuse to be given by a policeman. You are supposed to be on duty, and it is known you have when you have donned police uniform, you have to go and face the crowd. You can't say that we are being beaten, that's why we can't do this. That I don't agree with such type of comments.
So, Pandey
Thank
sir,
you.
can you just, uh, so Pandey sir, would you like to comment on
Yes,
this, sir?
I have definitely I will comment. Though, though on record, it is very difficult to say that they have to fire as many shots as to kill whole the mob. But still, I give one simple constitutional provision for army, and it has to be used wish to wish police also. In Constitution, there is a provision that courts can take help of all the police, civil, and uh, judicial authorities to implement their decisions. So this is for Supreme Court. But the word military is missing. In Constitution, Supreme Court can take help of civil and judicial authorities and police authorities, but they can't take help of army. The explanation to that is what was in the mind of the constitution makers, that Indian constitution applies only to the limits of India, geographical limits of India, and the army personnel is standing at the boundary. Now at the boundary the constitution limit ends. Till he stands there, that portion is inside India. Once he is killed by enemy, that portion is outside India. That is the theory one must keep into the mind when one wears the uniform. That is the theme. Army personnel understands that where I stand, that is the limit of India. Similarly, the police personnel with his uniform is one who takes oath that where I stand, that is the government. And if he is not there, that is lawlessness. So he has to take all efforts to take control. The word magister, you must be knowing that there is a magistrate with armed forces. Why? Magistrate word is meant word magister from word magister. Magister means to take supremacy, and magistrate means small officers of government. So the magistrate is to take control of the situation in any case. And if he cannot take, that means he doesn't have court. This doesn't say this. So always law and order report says that things are under control, but not this. Before they are taken control, everything can happen. I think I am clear that it is risk to life because it is protection of constitution and our law that is on the shoulder of the uniformed person. So one can choose not to indulge into this if he is not aggressive enough, he doesn't have enough courage to do and die. I think I am clear.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, definitely, sir. Professor Narayan, sir, would you like to add on to it, sir, before we sum up?
No, they have answered it.
Okay.
Can request
Yes, sir.
Mr. Uh, Michyari ji talk to him. Request him. He will give his own experience.
Okay.
Aloke
Thank you.
Michyari, talk.
Yes, sir.
Well, my experience is basically working with the youth in the YMCA for the last almost 30, 40 years. I have seen people, youth particularly, and YMCA provides a platform where they come and join. YMCA's, we work in 3 points basically: body, mind, and soul. In body, we have sports activities, mind, we have educational activities, and in soul, we have spiritual activities, not particularly related to any particular religion, but basically it's a secularly religious programs which we have. And I have seen that youth, particularly when they come to the YMCA, they come, number one, they do not know what YMCA is, number one. When they come here, they realize that here there is a platform in which they can contribute and their talents can be encouraged and they can contribute towards enhancing not only their own talents and skills, but those of the other members or participants who are taking part in the events. And I feel personally, I have grown with the YMCA, personally speaking. I joined YMCA when I was just 19, and I'm all along been a YMCA person, and I have seen how I have evolved, how I have developed myself mentally, spiritually, bodily, in every manner. Public speaking, organizing, handling situations, critical situations also, and then especially with the youth. And I feel personally, the more we get involved with the youth, the more we bring them together and make them understand that they matter to us, they're important to us, their talent, their skills, their knowledge, their understanding is very, very important for us and for the society as a whole. I think we shall be able to play a very, very proactive role in reducing the stress level and the level of aggressiveness, especially with the younger people in this society. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Today it was a wonderful talk with all the views, different sort of views coming together and definitely going in a positive direction. We can we can definitely channelize it to decrease the youth aggressiveness, and it is some other something is also come how to channelize it in curtailing youth aggressiveness. Definitely, this is a point, and how we can do this. We had eminent speakers today, and thank you so much for putting your views together. I definitely thank the YouTube channel and the people who are observing us on the internet for encouraging us and coming up with different questions and inquiries. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Okay. So we are logging off.
Okay, thanks.